Hey guys, Darryl Russell here. Welcome back to another episode of the SEO Show. And in this episode, I'm sitting down with Derek Pierce, and we're discussing how he went from $100,000 in credit card debt to rebuilding his entire life, basically getting out of debt. And he did that using SEO and using launch jacking. So if you don't know what launch jacking is, it's basically the idea of going out there and hijacking the traffic, the promotion, the discussion about a big product launch that's going on, so like an info product launch, something like that, and then getting in front of that and diverting traffic through your affiliate links, basically, and making money as an affiliate. And some people have gone on to make tens of thousands of dollars, maybe $100,000 in a day from doing this successfully. It's a pretty cool strategy. So in this episode, we're going to break down how exactly he did that. We're going to break down why he was in $100,000 of debt. I'm going to break down how Derek basically built up his life after that, and how he built up his own audience, and talk about building a list and the value of that, and how you can leverage building a list and an audience and everything like that to make money. And of course, launch jack and how you can do the exact same thing. All right? So let's get into the episode. I hope you guys get a ton of value out of it. Enjoy. Derek, hey man, thank you for joining me on the show today. It's cool to have you here.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. You've done a great job with the blog and the podcast, and glad to be here.
Thanks, man. So for anyone that doesn't know who you are, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Derek Pierce. I'm from Alabama. I've been doing SEO probably for about 10 years now.
Nice.
I got started doing launch jacking, and I built some tools and things like that. So I've done just about every type of SEO that you could possibly do, from Web 2.0 type stuff, ranking videos, ranking websites, doing a little bit of client work, doing a little of this, a little of that. So
nice. You mentioned launch jacking. I think we had one person on the show ever that's actually mentioned launch jacking. Can you explain like what it is and what sort of stuff you're doing?
Basically, it's whenever you get a product name that somebody that's going to be launching, and you are basically just grabbing the traffic. You're ranking for the product name, maybe the product name plus review, maybe your product name plus bonus or something like that. The advantage to that is that the keywords are super targeted, and it's very much buyer intent keyword. So somebody that's already had some sort of exposure to the product, maybe they weren't sold on the product from getting blasted with a bunch of swipe emails or something, and they went to the web to look for a better deal. So that's what I did. And I'll tell you a story like too, if you want to get into it later on. But that's really how I got my start, was doing launch tagging. I think it was Jeff Linney you had on here that talked about doing Jeff, launch tagging.
Yeah, cool.
I saw that, and I reached out to him, and that was a great interview you did.
Yeah, you shared a lot of nuggets. He's a really cool guy. Did your approach differ much to his if you saw the interview?
I just, we had been in the same circles, and I saw him at some different events and things like that. I think I saw him at the zoo event, but we never had like talked. And so I reached out to him. I was like, hey, we're in some circles, and we've never formally met. So you did a great job on the interview. And but yeah, the way he does it, the way he talked about it was very similar to what I did in the past. I don't currently, I'm not as active in doing that as what I used to be, but that's really where I really got my start. So,
all right. So before you go into launch jacking, you were telling me before we started recording about kind of your background and how you were like $100,000 in debt and had an IRS audit right before you got into all this stuff, and this kind of like saved your ass basically. Can you kind of share like what your background is?
Well, okay, so I started doing real estate deals. So I was a real estate investor, buying and selling houses, and I had some success with it. I quit my job. As soon as I quit my job, the markets just sort of went upside down, and I couldn't borrow any money. Yeah, so it was like I quit my job. Like then I think like 2 years later, my wife quit her job, and then it's like the market just went haywire. So it was one of those things where like I think I had 15 houses, and 10 of them were vacant. So basically what I was doing was like I was renovating some of these properties, and I was using credit cards to fund the renovations. So what would happen is whenever I would flip them, then I would go back and pay the credit cards off. Well, when you got 15 and then you got like 10 that are vacant and you can't sell them, and like I was trying to give them away. I remember like I was marketing them with cars. I was giving away TVs. I was doing everything that you could possibly imagine to get these houses done and get them off the books. And I couldn't move them. And so one day this lady comes back from a conference. I thought she was completely off her rocker, and she's like, "Hey, why don't you stick them on eBay?" I was like, "Selling a house on eBay? Like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of." And so I stuck one on eBay, and I got more views on that one property than I did anything else. Wow. There was no comparison. So what we were doing was we did something kind of unique on listing the properties. Instead of just listing them, what I did was I set the prices, and then I set to where they were bidding on the down payment. So like, let's say it was, the price was $50,000. So that was set in stone. And so then the bid amount was like starting at $1. And so I would get like people like anywhere from 5,000 to 8,000 views on one property, and there would get a bidding war going on. And there was people in California, there's people in Jersey, there was people all over the place bidding on my property here in a little small town in Alabama. There's like 65, 70,000 people. So really cool. That's how I got out of the houses. But that left me with this.
What sort of year was this, by the way?
Debt. Probably like 05, 06, somewhere around in there. Yeah. So like 05, 06, 07, somewhere in the ballpark of that. So what ended up happening was like I still had this credit card, even though I got rid of the houses and got them off the books or whatever. Like I had to borrow money to just live off of, and to be able to pay the creditors and things like that. So I had this $100,000, and I thought, well, if I can sell a house on eBay, then online, I need to be online. Yeah, I just knew like, okay, I got to be online. And I grew up in a small town. Like I didn't have any kind of computer training or anything like that. So I started like researching on how to sell ebooks and things like that. And so I did that, built a very small list, and basically all the ebook was how to buy houses no money down, and it was also how I sold these houses on eBay. That's basically was what it was. I built this blog up while I was doing it, just like little articles, had some videos about different properties and just different things that was going on in the real estate space. And one day this guy reaches out to me. He's a guy named Mitch, and he was trying to get me to promote a guy that he was working with that was selling real estate info products. And so we talk on the phone for about 30 minutes. He's like, "Hey man, you need to get with these guys that are doing these launches." Like back then, it wasn't like a launch every day. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that. So I was like, "Oh, these guys are assholes." I automatically thought that they had this big list. I automatically thought like I wasn't good enough to talk to them or whatever. Like, what am I going to bring to the table?
Sure.
So what ended up happening was I said, okay, I'm gonna talk to them and we'll just see what happens. So they do this launch, and I write a blog post that's a review about every piece of content that they put out as the pre-launch. Number one. So every pre-launch piece, they had a name for it. So I write a blog post out. Every video they did, write a blog post out. I think they give away a little software too, as like a little, I don't remember, like a calculator or something. They give that away. Wrote a blog post about it. Everything had a blog post. And then launch day come, I started getting these cha-ching messages, and I was like, "Holy cow, what's going on?" Like I didn't know what was going on. So I thought it was my list. I thought, my list is better than what I thought it was. So the next launch I did, on that launch I ended up being on the leaderboard, and it was like in the top 15 or 20 or something like that, nice. People or whatever. But nobody knew who I was. Like I was a nobody, and my name was like right next to Ron LeGrand, which is like the godfather of real estate, right? So I was like, oh man, this is great, Ron LeGrand. So next launch comes up, and I just mail my list. I don't do any of the blog posts. Nothing, no response, nothing. And I was like, wait a minute, why did it work this previous time? And then this time, well, I got to looking back at some of the traffic that I was getting, and then I started looking at it, and I was like, holy cow, I was ranking for all these terms. And then that's when a light bulb went off. And so then that's when I started approaching these launches. And most of them was in the real estate space, and then I eventually got into some in the internet marketing space. But what I would do is I would buy like probably 5 domains for each launch. Like any name I could get, just like product name review, product name bonus, and I would hit the living hell out of them with links. Every single one of them. So that's kind of how I got started doing it.
That's really cool, man. So you accidentally basically stumbled into the idea. It wasn't like you went online like, oh, there's a cool guide on how to do launch jacking. It was just
no. There was nothing there. Like that wasn't a thing. You know, it wasn't a thing. Like nobody was really talking about it. Like launches were. I mean, everybody was doing launches, and like that was the big thing, and it was like $1,000, $2,000 product launches at that point. Yeah. But nobody was really jacking them for a while, and so it got to be there got to be some competition because people started seeing what I was doing, and I'm sure there were some other people doing the same thing too. And then it just kind of took off, and then it was become a little bit more competitive. But what I ended up doing was I participated in so many of these launches. And I got on leaderboards, and I started getting like some really big chunks. Like one launch jack that I did, I made I think $79,000 in sales.
Nice.
So yeah, not that all wasn't mine, just so you know. Like half of it was mine, and then they had to back out refunds and stuff like that. So I didn't see all of that, but still, like when you go and you're like $100,000 in debt, and then you see your name on the top 5 leaderboard, and it's like almost $80,000 in sales. It does something to you, kind of thing. It's like definitely it's a good thing.
How long did it take you to pay off the debt?
It wasn't long. I don't know. Like I didn't calculate it in terms of like how long, but like it wasn't long after that, because we started getting some pretty big chunks. And what I did was like, one day, like after we started doing these, I started looking at this, and I went like, wait a minute, I've got all of these domains. I was kind of pissed because I was like, I'm buying five domains for each of these launches, and then I'm just hitting them with links. Like back then, like what we talked about before you started recording, like you could just hit them with just any kind of stuff, like comments, forum profile, whatever. You just hit them. I was like, man, I'm doing all this work for just a one-time payoff, and then I'm like not getting anything out of it. And so then one day I was like, wait a minute, why don't I just go back to these same sites and just start linking to my new stuff? And that was the first PBN that I built, was just off of the ones that I had done the launch jacking with before. So
that makes sense. Also, links it was just like pure spam, like tools, like automation, everything like that. Yep. Yeah, and I think that was like the Wild Wild West. Like you could just, and what was funny, it was like, this was like 06 through like 2006 to 2008, 2009, somewhere around in there. And like people were saying like, hey, this is gonna burn your site out. They were like, it was like all the warnings that we see now, like where everybody's talking about like all this bad stuff's gonna happen, but then it was like you can't build links, you can't do this, you can't do that. Yeah. And dude, we were firing up Xrummer, and we would run, or we would hire somebody to run and do 30 to 50,000 links inside of a week. And it worked. It worked. And so like everybody was saying that it wouldn't work, but it was, and it was the craziest thing. It's super cool. So when you were doing this initially on the launch jacking sites, it just linked through to their site as like an affiliate. You weren't building any sort of email list or anything at this time?
No, I didn't do anything with the email list. I just built them up to the site, and then on the site I would do like I would take like a screen grab of a video or something like that. Yeah. And then like I'd make it look just like the site that we were promoting. So like they couldn't tell the difference in it. So like I would just make it look as identical as I possibly could. then I'd put like a screen grab of a video or something, like, hey, click here to play. And so when they land on it, like I may have all the content below this, but like on the top they would just see this video, so they'd click to play it, and then it would carry them over to the affiliate link.
Cool, man. It wasn't back then, the whole bonus stuff. I know these days every time you see a launch, it's like you get this is again like $100,000 of bonuses when you join this program, and obviously it's all made up.
Well, it wasn't as bad as what it is now, but it was still there. You know, you still, because a lot of these people were looking at it from the standpoint of like, can I get a better deal, you know, or something like that, or like they wanted to get more information. They hadn't been sold on it. So if you slid a bonus in that was good, then you know, it would definitely help you make the sale. But it's just gotten, I think it's kind of gotten out of hand. It's kind of gotten crazy.
Yeah.
Like what we were talking about, like, I'm going to give you a free night at my house and drive my car for a year or whatever. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, but I mean, clearly it's working for people, so as long as they can actually add some value, then good for them.
Hey, and some of them are good, you know, some of them are really good. Like, I mean, I'm not knocking anybody or anything like that. Yeah, exactly. Some of them are really good.
So what did you get into after, like, you started making some serious money with launch tracking? You ended up linking the sites to your new sites, which is like basically a PBN, and actually probably a good PBN if you already have like a ton of links and maybe even some traffic still.
Right. That's what I did, and so then like we started linking to other stuff, and I started trying to rank for some like more, I guess, higher end type keywords. I ended up ranking for like mobile marketing, real estate investing, creative real estate, some pretty big terms. That was all before Panda and Penguin come in, but you know, it was just and those terms really didn't make me money. Okay. It was more just from an information base, like it was more bragging rights. At the time, I didn't even have like proper sales funnels and things like that to put them into place. So, but I did rank for those terms. So like, I guess that accounts for something, you know, for bragging rights purposes. But
definitely.
So then like what happened was like I started getting my name on leaderboards, and then like, you know, nobody knew who I was. So then people wanted to start masterminding and connecting and talking to me and things like that. Led me to doing SEO for a best-selling author, and cool. I thought like that was going to be the route to go, and man, it just didn't work out. After I guess about 6 months of doing that, I was like, I don't think I want to go that route. I'd rather stick with doing affiliate marketing. Like you own the sites and stuff. So, I'm sorry?
It's that you prefer like owning the sites and having like full control of everything.
Yeah. Well, what happened was this guy, he was a legit guy. Like he had a pretty big staff and whatnot. And he had like a operations manager that come in, and she read a SEO for Dummies book over the weekend. And then she saw all the stuff that I was doing, and like I was moving these sites up. So like what I ended up doing, he had like some complaints on rip-off report and stuff like that. So I was trying to move up his Twitter profile. I was trying to move up some Web 2.0 stuff, his Facebook fan page, just basic stuff, you know, because you're trying to move up 8 different properties and move the one out on the second page, and it's a lot of work. And so I was doing this, and I was making some pretty good progress. And she's like, hey, this isn't working. This is not, you're going to get him into trouble. And is this even legal? And I'm like, it's legal? Like, so the guy's calling me up, you know, he's like a best-selling author guy, and he's got this reputation he's worried about. And he's like, hey man, what you're doing, is this even legal? And I'm like, yes, it's okay. But it was just a pain in the neck, because I didn't want to have to like justify what I was doing. You know what I mean? I didn't want to have to answer to anybody. So anyway, so I did that. I didn't like that. I still did the affiliate marketing, but I started building a list, started selling my own stuff, and putting together promotions and stuff for my own products. And that's kind of where I migrated to.
That's cool, man. Yeah, I'm actually with you with the clients. If I get on the phone with a client and they say, you don't even know what like black hat, gray hat, or white hat means, I'm like this isn't for you, bye-bye. Like, done. Like I will not take on a client if they even ask me, is this white hat? Is like, we're not working together. Like, go away. I need someone that's extremely dumb and knows nothing on this topic, because they're just exponentially easier to deal with because of that. Basically.
Well, and if they, you know, if they take an interest in it, you know, at some point, and a lot of them will, like if you're doing this for them, and they're like, they're going to kind of pique their interest in it, and it's going to be a thing of like, they've got to be cool to work with. You know what I mean? Like, they just got to be kind of laid back and just cool. Like, I kind of felt like we got on this group call, and it was like I felt like I was having to defend what I was doing, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute, like I've moved up like 3 properties inside of a month, you know? Like, wow. I mean, it wasn't a thing of the results, it was just a thing of how I was going about it. So
okay. Yeah, most of my clients are like as long as they're making money, they're happy.
Right.
And that's easy to deal with then. They just want to grow and make some money.
Yeah, that's a lot easier to deal with. Stick with those people.
Definitely. So I like the progression you made from affiliate to kind of creating your own products and stuff. I'm trying to like encourage like friends and stuff to do the same thing these days. It's kind of the next level, rather than just being like a little affiliate. You're actually like building up like your own legit brand and having like your own stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think for me, what really changed it was I was still doing some of the affiliate, and I was still doing some of the launch jacking, and I had some launches that didn't go well, and I was really at that point I was like needing the money, you know. I was like, sure. Oh, this big name's gonna launch, you know, XYZ Blaster 3000 whatever, you know. And yeah. Like, I'm gonna rank for it, so you put all this energy and effort into it, and then the launch just bombs, you know, for whatever reason. Like, maybe they didn't get the affiliate support or whatever, but I just realized there was a lot of things that was out of my control. I remember one guy in particular, his server went down on the day of the launch, and wow. I had like multiple spots on the first page. This was a big name, somebody that you would not expect anything like this to happen. The server was down for like 36 hours before it ever come back up. And so he made a joke. He's like, yeah, I think we're just going to take the orders in by fax the next launch, you know. And so so like that was all he could say, you know. But at that point I was like, you know what, like I've got to do something that's more, you know, for me, that I can count on a little bit more, and I can have a little bit more control. I mean, the whole reason we do PBNs in SEO to begin with is what? Yeah, we want to stay in control, you know, yeah. and control the whole process. And I just looked at it the same way whenever I started building my own stuff. It's the same exact process. And, you know, the thing is like, I believe in doing things, like whatever you do, you've got to figure out a way of making money. And like SEO is the one thing that you can really guarantee profitability from, is because I've been running Facebook ads, and I know I've saw some of your ads too. Sometimes I'll throw an ad out and like I won't get anything. Like, I'll get no return whatsoever. Yeah. You go in with PBNs and you're getting an asset. You're getting something that you can, you know, if you need to sell links off of, or if you need to sell blog posts off of, it's something that you have that you can, that's there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. We do quite a lot on Facebook ads these days, like a few hundred a day. And if you like, it's testing basically with that stuff. You got to tweak it all the time, and it's very unlikely, to be honest, that you're going to start it off and make money. It's very unlikely. Like, it takes a lot of time to tweak it and play around with the funnels and play around your offer and everything like that to get it like profitable. You're right, with rankings, it's so cheap, isn't it? Like, throwing up a few PBNs and ranking is, I don't know, a few $1,000, and you start ranking for this keyword, they can bring in $1,000 plus a month just from a few keywords. Like, the ROI is insane.
Well, and the thing is though, is like, let's say you're not ranking though, like you've got a real asset. I mean, think of how many other ways you can make money from that. You could sell links off of that. You could sell blog posts off of that. There's so many other ways that you can monetize that project, you know, other than just relying on the rankings. And so I think that's the thing too, is like figuring out ways that you can make money from. So like everything that I do, I try to turn it into a profit center. So if I rank for something, it's going to be a case study. If
Yeah.
if I rank a video, it's a case study. If I do anything, it's it's a cheat sheet. It's a case study. It could be a full blown course. If it's something I can build a software around, I'm gonna get a developer on it. If it's something that can be automated, that's kind of what I look at, and I just try to figure out ways that I can take what I'm doing and be able to make money from all different types of angles, no matter what. So that's kind of the approach that I take. It's worked well for me.
No, I like that. That's someone asked me before, like, how you kind of diversify your business. So once you're doing, maybe you're ranking a few affiliate sites, how do you diversify it? And for me, I think the easiest way to diversify it is not to completely do something separate, but to add extra things to your business that all add value to the main thing, kind of like what you're saying. So for me, for example, I run like Lion's stuff, and then I have like my agency stuff. And the agency just makes sense to run while we're doing it because it's case studies and everything for Lion's, so additional training, and it's all kind of ties back. We're constantly doing SEO for ranking the clients and everything like that. And basically everything I do, if I'm going to add something exactly the same as you, it all has to add value to every other part of the business, or as much of it as it possibly can.
And so you got it figured out. Like, it took me a while to figure that out. So like, kudos to you, because you're already figuring it out, and like that's the way to do it right there. You're exactly 100% right.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I think so.
I'm telling you, man, you're doing it the right way. That's the way you do it. And I mean, the thing is like, let's say you rank, I don't know, let's say you rank an affiliate site or whatever. Well, that can be like a mini case study. You could sell it. I mean, you could sell that, or you could give it away as a lead magnet, whatever. You don't have to just like. And everybody's worried about stealing niches and things like that, and I worry about that too. But you don't have to give away the niche or the market or whatever. You can tell what you did and how you got the results, and just document it, and you've got an asset at that point that you can do whatever you want to with.
Definitely. So it's an interesting topic then, because you've been in this sort of thing, like information products and stuff, a lot longer than me, and software and everything like that. Let's say that it's outside the make money niche. I have a friend, he's ranking very well for sort of weight loss type keywords, stuff like that, and he's just recently started selling ebooks actually. So originally just promoting other people's products. He created a couple of his own ebooks. He did, I think, like a good few $1,000s last month from selling his own ebooks to lists and everything, so it's working really well. What are a few sort of pitfalls, mistakes and everything that people make when they first start like selling their own products and building up their own list for that sort of thing?
I think for me, like the thing that I really what I really had a mistake with, where I made a mistake and what I really regret is not having confidence to ask for more money up front. Like, okay, I felt like I didn't have a confidence level of being able to ask, say $1,000 or $100 a month or whatever. It was a thing, like I felt like I needed to be, and this applies to make money online, or this applies to fitness or whatever. I felt like $7 to $10, $20 or whatever, like low ticket thing. It was in my comfort zone. I think that's a very common mistake a lot of people make. I've got a guy that's my neighbor, and he's wanting me to help him do training. I think he's 65, and he's in incredible shape. If you saw him out, you'd say, man, there's no way this guy's 65. He looks amazing. Yeah. He's been like in all these bodybuilding competitions and stuff, and he looks great. And most of his clients look good too, and he's like really strict about the diet. But he's a very humble guy, and I'm like, okay, dude, you could do this, you could do this, you could do that. I'm trying to give him all these ideas, and I'm like, you could charge this, and he's like, wait a minute. He doesn't feel comfortable doing that. And the thing is like, if when you're starting to compete in some of these markets, like it doesn't make, especially when you got competition, it doesn't make sense to go after it when you've got competitors that are charging like hundreds or thousands of dollars. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to come in to the market with a $7 product. They're going to eat you alive, kind of thing. Like I learned that in the real estate space when I was trying to sell this ebook. You know, there was guys that had $20,000 to $50,000 coaching programs at the time.
Definitely. Yeah.
And here I was, I had my little $49 ebook, and you start trying to run ads. There's no way you can match what they're spending. You know?
Yeah, I think it's like there's a lot of guys saying it now. Like basically, whoever can afford to spend the most money on ads is going to make the most money.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if you're selling a $7 ebook or something like that, even like PBNs and stuff is going to be super pricey. Like how many like sales you have to get to cover all that cost, right?
Well, and I see guys doing that now with some of the PBN services too. Like they're selling like stuff really, really cheap, and I'm like, don't do that. Don't do that. You know, some of the domains and stuff, like I can't believe, because I know they're doing a lot of research on some of them, you know. But I really believe that's like people, a lot of times they have a hard time asking for the money. And if I had it to do over and I could go back, I would try to slap myself around and be like, look, dude, you gotta get over this. This is, and it's all a confidence thing, you know?
Yeah. That's very true. How did you build your list?
Most of my list is buyers. Cool. Rolling stuff out and rolling stuff out a lower ticket. But when we roll it out now with a lower ticket, we've got stuff that's higher end, ready to go on the back end. Yeah. We've got an upsell, then we've got the webinar, and we've got continuity programs. We've got other things that we're doing with that, and that's the other thing that's really helped me too is the continuity. I know you've got the what is it, the monthly. Yeah. That's a good move too, because you know it took me a while to get that. But the rebuilds, man, that's the name of the game right there. And it's not just for selling stuff either. That goes for the affiliate side too, because like you know, it doesn't, like I like stuff. It doesn't matter if I'm selling it or if it's affiliate. I like stuff that I'm either going to get a lifetime commission or I'm going to get rebills, recurring commissions, anything like that. Like, you know, it's just, that's the way to go right there.
Absolutely. That's actually funny because it's the same advice I gave my friend. So I was looking at his site and he saw these 2 ebooks. He made a few $1,000s off it in a month just on the initial like opening it up and starting to offer it rather than other people's products. And I was like, the first thing I said is like, hey, like go up there and add like a one-click upsell. Go add something like a video training that goes with the ebook to help them implement it better. And then after that, add another product and make it like, I don't know, a supplement or something like that, and charge them like $30, $50 a month to get like a subscription to getting the supplement every month. And just by adding that, you'll like probably triple your revenue or something like that with 0 extra work, like nothing.
Did he take your advice?
I think he's working on it all now, so I'll have to update everyone later. That'll be a good case study for later.
And that's another thing too, is like I see a lot of people trying to make stuff perfect, you know, like they say like, oh, I'm working on it or whatever. Like, man, like it doesn't take me long to launch a product. Yeah. If I wanted to launch a like right now it's 11:20 p.m. tonight. If I wanted to launch a product, I could launch one by in the morning, and I would have something out ready to go.
How?
It doesn't take long, you know. Like I would do like if I was going to do that, I haven't launched a product probably where I had everything done probably in 2 years outside of software. Everything's been where I sell it and then I fulfill it after that, because you know, you just don't know. Sometimes people are just not interested in whatever it is that you're looking to sell, you know. And by doing that, like it forces me to create the product. Like, okay, I'm going to do a 3-week class, or I'm going to do a 4-week class or whatever, and then I get paid up front, and then I've got this asset that I can turn around and sell over and over again.
Fair enough. And as long as you're transparent, that's totally cool, right? Like, especially when you're dragging out like it's going to be a 5-week class, like easy.
No, totally. And the thing is, you can use it as a sales point too, because you can say, look, you can participate in this, especially if you're doing webinars. Like a lot of times I'll do these and I'll just do them as a webinar. And so you can participate these, you can ask questions live, and so that kind of helps you dictate how the course is going to go as well. So if you position it right, you can really use that as a selling point instead of something that would hurt sales,
Yeah, absolutely. How do you, like you mentioned, one of the big issues you made was like kind of undercharging. So take my friend's example, for example, selling, I don't know, $37 ebook, something like that, on like how to lose weight or how to get in better shape or something like that. How do you kind of increase the price by tweaking the perceptions or anything like that? How do you actually achieve being able to charge $1,000? Because obviously you can't charge $1,000 for like an ebook.
Well, I think you have to like for an ebook, maybe it's not an ebook, maybe it's a 6-week class. Maybe it's like what you were saying, like you still got this front end product, but then you've got the 6-week class is maybe just more in depth, maybe a little bit more hand holding, maybe it's email access, just something to add a little bit more value to maybe a personal touch or something like that. Like the stuff that we sell that's higher ticket, then people get access to me, they ask me questions and things like that, or maybe it's something that's software related. But that's kind of what's worked for me anyway.
Definitely. So both of us are SEO guys. I'm curious if you were starting over again, would you build this off of SEO? And today, do you only rely on SEO, or do you go to other traffic sources as well?
I do other traffic sources. If I had it to do over again, I would look at paid traffic sooner, and I would build my list sooner.
Okay.
I still think SEO is the best way to go in terms of just getting super targeted traffic. There's nothing else like it, in my opinion. Like I eat, breathe, and live this stuff. I love it. I love talking about it. We could be here all night. I talk about it. But I would get better, and I would be open more to the idea of doing paid traffic. I just like Facebook ads. I was turned off by it from day one, and it really hindered my business by not doing that. I missed a boatload of opportunity just from the early days of just trying not to adopt. Part of that was I was still trying to do a lot of SEO on my own and like running a one-man shop and things like that. And since then, I've kind of, I've outsourced a lot more and doing more of that stuff. And that's what I would do. I still, like I said, I'm still sold on it, but I would just start looking at some paid stuff as well.
All right. Yeah, fair enough.
What about you? What about you?
I'd start with SEO, 100%. I love it, and it's much easier to get started with, and it's a great way of growing your revenue and getting some cash flow. If I was going the client route, then I'd just stick to SEO. I'd probably just start like working with people to outsource it to, or building a team, probably just outsourcing it from the start. If I was going like the affiliate route or something like that, I would probably kind of take the building more of an authority approach. So ranking originally, starting off with just rankings, then later on, like you said, like once you're making some money as an affiliate, then start creating your own products and stuff like that. Setting up all the one-click upsells and all the different upsells, the different things like that, building an email list. And then it's like, if you can add paid traffic as an extra and to really build up the site as something big, then I'd be looking at like if I can run Facebook ads, if I can make that profitable, especially once you've got your own products and everything like that, and build up like a legit brand in like a niche.
Right.
That's interesting stuff to me.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think, for me, like the reason why I keep going back to SEO, like I never could get rid of it. Like I don't know if I just had this love for it whenever we got started kind of thing, and it kind of dug me out of the hole or whatever. But like I've just never been able to put it down. It's always been the thing that I always go to. Whenever we do trainings, if I do a training that's not SEO, guess what? Somehow there's always an SEO angle to it that ends up being talked about or whatever.
Yeah. Even
if I don't intend for it to be. So I would not neglect the other traffic sources, though, would be the thing that I would do. And there's something to be said though about focusing in on what it is that you're doing too. So
that's very true. Also, yeah.
I think a lot of people are spreading themselves too thin with shiny object number one, shiny object number two. But I think like if you go about it like what you're talking about, where you go at it from a progression of getting good at SEO, and then building the list. And you're going at it and you're adding to what you're doing instead of like just running all over the place.
Yeah, like ranking a bunch of sites, basically finding a niche that makes good money and then scaling that one niche versus ranking a few sites, then running Facebook ads to whoever offers and running AdWords to some other stuff and just kind of trying everything out. But it's just testing it with SEO, finding something that works and scaling in just that one direction.
And the thing is like, even though like, let's say the niche that you go after, even if it don't make you money, big deal. Like you've built something, you can use that to throw links to something else, and you can use it as a case study. Like it's really hard to lose when you put yourself in a no-lose situation kind of thing.
Absolutely, man. So you said you have a few SEO tools or softwares?
I do.
Do you want to?
I go ahead.
Do you want to share what they are and like what you built them and why you built them?
Yeah. Well, back in the day, like posting was a pain in the neck, right? So like we were keeping up with everything in spreadsheets, and it was just a disaster. So originally I built a plugin that would go in and we did it all from within WordPress, and it would post to other WordPress sites. That ultimately got graduated into a web-based software, and it's called Wrangle, but it's in a web-based software, and it's where you can manage multiple PBNs, and it handles all the posting and everything for you. So yeah, it does multiple platforms and things like that. So it mixes stuff up. You can do spun content if you wanted to. If you wanted to do like original content and just syndicate like one article per blog, then you could do that. Really, the choice is yours. So I did that, and then I did another probably that product, and then I've got another one that I did called Rebuild Age Domains. You're familiar with Link Juice Keeper?
Yeah.
I figure everybody that's watching this is probably familiar with it, but basically it takes that concept to like a whole nother level. You install the plugin on this one, and it does a 301 redirect to your existing post and pages, instead of linking it all to the home page. So you can mix it up however you want. If you want it to go to certain ones, or if you want it to go to just a variety, that way you can have all of your stuff set up and then install it, and it'll do the 301 loop. So those two things probably would be like, those are like probably I would consider the staple of what I've built as far as SEO goes.
That's cool. And how did you get into building like software from like creating some little info products and stuff like that, webinars and stuff, then creating software is a completely different game, I'd imagine.
Man, I don't even know. I really don't. So what happened was, I thought, you know what, I'm going to because there's another product I have that it's called Page One Plugin, but it's a silo builder, and it will automatically load like several plugins, and it will like tweak them, and instead of having to go into WordPress and install each individual plugin one by one, this grabs them it grabs like 10, and then it will optimize them and change the permalinks and delete the sample page and post and all the mundane stuff. So I was just like, okay, what if I could build tools that I could like not have to do all this just mundane stuff that we're doing on every single site. So that's really probably how I got started. So I got started with that one. And so I built that one, and then there was the posting tool. That was a lot of work. I put an ad up on Upwork at the time. It was Odesk, and I got a guy, and he built the Page One plugin for me quick, and he's been with me ever since. And like he builds out everything. We've built a ton of tools out, a ton of software, and he does really good work.
That's surprisingly sounds not too difficult. Like I'm sure it was for him.
I had went through several programmers before him, and so like there was. Yeah, it wasn't like, oh, I just looked up on this. Like, this was after like several ones, and lot of a lot of bad ones, and then so everything now gets sent to him first, and yeah, he does them, and he does a good work. He does good work for me, and but the main thing is just we've just tried to replace as much of the like take the like the stuff that just doesn't matter, like installing plugins or whatever. Like this is stuff that we do on every single site. Yeah. The posting. This is stuff that takes a lot of work and a lot of effort in terms of like keeping up with where the post was made, when the date was, what the URL is, like all of this stuff. So like what we do now is like we have it to where we plug everything into Rank Gold, we run the submission wizard, and it will schedule everything for us. And then at the end of it, it reports back to us all of the URLs that it's posted to. So nice. That way, if you wanted to build a second tier to it, or if you needed to send it to a client for reporting or whatever, that's how we do it.
So you basically had issues with your own business of running it, and then you decided to create tools to help you out, which obviously helped others as well.
Yep, exactly. And I had, like, whenever I got on the launch leaderboards, like there were people that said, hey, let's connect and let's do this mastermind. So I had these 3 or 4 guys, and they're like, man, you need to sell some of this stuff. You've got to sell some of this stuff. Like, there's more money in selling it than what you would ever imagine. So I was like, really? They're like, yeah. So that's kind of where it all started from, was that.
Was that helpful? I presume so. Like getting into all these mastermind circles and actually chatting with real people that are building businesses just like yours.
It is. There are some downsides though. Like this was a group that was it was a non-paid one. It was just like 4 guys getting together, and we were friends, and it wasn't a thing. And we just we met each other all through the web, and so we were all over the place. But I know like some of the paid ones, it can be a little bit it can be challenging, trying to find your spot in some of these, and then people stealing ideas and stuff like that, So,
yeah.
That happens,
Okay. Last few questions then. What are 2 or 3 big mistakes you've made, like since starting out, like 10 years ago now, that someone else can avoid, hopefully?
The biggest mistakes I've made, not outsourcing soon enough.
With you there. Yep.
Is that a good answer, or are you looking for like a bad deal that I did?
If you have one in mind, that'd be interesting too, but that's good.
Dude, I could give you a book full of mistakes, man. We could be here all night. I got there was just the biggest thing was just like thinking that I'm so good that I have to do everything.
Yeah. Especially with SEO,
I look at it and
right?
I go, man, yeah, like I'm thinking like, man, I can knock this out quick. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. And there's only so many hours in the day. And that's been probably one of my biggest pitfalls, is that, and not hiring stuff out sooner, not outsourcing stuff, not building teams, and not systemizing things the way that I should have. Like I should have done that way sooner.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Yeah, a lot of, especially in SEO, we think, to be honest, that we're amazing at SEO, like we know all this stuff. Like surely we can't just pay someone to come in and do PBNs and ranking for us and link building and stuff, like this technical stuff. But if we learn it, other people can learn it as well. We're not that special, as much as our egos don't want to hear that.
No, I totally agree, but it's definitely been it's definitely been a challenge. We and I still run a small team. It's not like I've got this big team. I've only got a couple of people, that's helping me. So yeah. It's not like I've got a big team or anything like that. Plus the developer that I have that works with me. So I know some guys that are running like 10, 20 people or whatever. That's just not what I want to do. But
yeah.
I feel like I should have done this a lot. What I've done in the last year or two, I feel like I should have done this a lot sooner, and my business would have would have definitely grown a lot faster than what it did, you know.
Yeah, I think it's also kind of scary to add the expense of hiring someone or getting a bunch of VAs or whatever like that. But at least in my experience, I've never ever gone wrong with it. As long as you hire someone good, you're always gonna make that money back and then some if they do a good job.
For me, it was never a thing about the expense of it. It was always the thing about, I was always questioning if I was hiring the right person.
Yeah.
I was always worried that I was like,
it's tough,
okay, if
though.
I hire this person, they don't work out, then we got to go back to the drawing board. That was kind of the whole thing that was going on in my head. And I was thinking, like, by the time I teach them this stuff, I could have already done it myself. And so that,
yeah, it's true.
that was the whole thought process going on. And so it really, like, if anybody's putting it off, like, I would start hiring out people right now, you know, like as soon as you possibly can, you know.
It changes, doesn't it? The whole business is completely different when you can just roll something out, and you roll it out by, like, you come up with an idea and you pass it on to them, and they implement it, they get it done. You can implement, like, if you have 5 people work, you can have all 5 of them doing the same stuff, and you just come up with the idea and it gets done 5 times. Just a basic example.
And people that you're competing against that are doing this, like let's say we were competing against each other or whatever, right? And you got a team and I don't. Like, you're going to be so much faster at everything, and you're going to reach so much more, you know, faster just by having a team versus trying to do it all on your own. There's no comparison.
Yeah, even in, like, building up affiliate sites and stuff like that. Like, we always say that it's basically, like, all this stuff is just like testing. Build up a bunch of sites, and some sites will make a load of money, some sites will make less. So if you have a team, you could fire out a lot more sites than anyone else. Like, a lot more.
And then when you find the winners, then you go in and you go after that one niche, and you just bombard it. You know, you just build out 10. If you got one profitable site, you build out 10 more just like it.
Exactly.
And then you can start testing around with the link building, and you can start doing more aggressive things if you want to. If you want to start testing with, you know, spamming some different stuff, then you've got these properties now that you can do that with.
Absolutely, man. Hey, that's a good kind of final thought to wrap up the interview on. Where can people find you if they want to reach out or ask you some questions or check out any of your products or anything like that?
Rankgold.com is the PBM poster. Also, you can go to trafficdiesel.com. By the way, I hate that domain name, but I've had it for so long. You can find me there. They can opt in for the list or whatever, and then you can just find me on Facebook too. Just look me up. I'm not the porn star, though. I'm not the porn star. There's a Derek Pierce porn star.
Nice.
And I am not him. So.
Just like a side job while you're doing this SEO stuff.
yeah, that's not me, I promise.
That's really cool. All right, man. Thank you for joining me today. It's been fun.
Hey, thanks for having me. Enjoyed it.
All right, hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and I'll see you guys next week.